back, ladies and gentlemen. Video Game Losers, woo woo woo, back on the air. We took a week off after C2E2 because...
We can.
Yeah, you know, it was a good excuse. So, we had some time off, and we did a little bit of retooling, and we decided we had to fire Pixel Dan, and then he died again. So, kicking off the week here on the Pop Culture Network with the Video Game Losers show. And we're going to go back to having our shows this week. We're going to have an It Figures at some point during the week. I'm not sure exactly when. And we're having a couple news desks and, you know, whatever. That stuff.
We'll make it happen.
That stuff we do. But regardless, here it is, the video game show. Woo! Everyone's excited and happy.
Yay.
Oh, so I guess we should probably get started then, huh? Let's get into some of the video game news for this week. First up, Korea, it says, is finally getting the 3DS.
Finally.
I'm assuming that's South Korea, not North Korea. But, I mean, you never know. It just says Korea in the press release. But I'm going to say that's probably South Korea. They're getting it for 220,000 won, which is about $193. So, pretty good price for the launch in their system. April 28th is when they're getting it.
That's a lot of won.
Won.
That's a lot of won.
That's an OB worth of won. Launch lineup: they'll get Tekken 3D Prime Edition, Super Mario 3D Land, Nicola Magazine Model Stylish Audition 2.
That sounds pornographic.
I mean, that sounds pretty good, actually. I don't know. Might want to look forward to that one. Later in the year, though, they're getting Mario Kart 7, Mario and Sonic at the London 2012 Olympic Games, Nintendogs and Cats, and the Nintendo 64 remakes of Star Fox 64 3D and Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D. So they got a pretty good selection of games.
I don't understand why it takes them so long to launch that product in Korea. Like,
probably language.
Don't they just have to ship it over there?
No, it's just the language. What? They have to translate everything and redo all the
characters.
characters.
Wait. They don't... Everybody doesn't speak English?
They should. I mean, you know, and the funny thing is, if you go, like I went over to Europe for a little bit, traveled around a couple different countries over there, and everyone speaks English. All their signs will be in, you know, Dutch or whatever, but you go into the store and you go to buy something, and they're like, Durka Durka, and you don't know what they're saying. You go, excuse me, do you speak English? And they're like, oh, yes, of course. And then you're fine. Everybody just speaks English. So it just seems kind of weird why, you know, just adopt the language.
A lot of Durka Durka talk?
Yeah, a lot of Durka. Especially in Northern Europe where I was. A lot of Durka Durka in Northern Europe. A lot of Dutch and, you know, Finnish people speaking Durka Durka.
Oh, so you were near the Amsterdam.
In France, yes. Yeah, actually I was, as a matter of fact.
Huh. How'd that go?
Yeah, well, moving on. Let's see, we finally got the official release for God of War Ascension. That'll be coming out. It actually leaked out a little bit early, and apparently Sony got a little mad that some of the press assets got out a little early. But today...
What are they going to do? That's it. You're not getting it. They're taking it away.
And there's nothing they could do except, yeah, okay, it's coming out. But today, Monday, April 30th, they are doing a special launch streaming event on the PlayStation blog. So you can make sure you check that out today. But basically, the Twitter account has been taking a bunch of questions that they are going to answer. So hopefully, if you had some questions, you sent that to their Twitter account, and they can answer that on the PlayStation blog. But God of War Ascension. And it's kind of a special title, considering that they said God of War was a trilogy, and it was over. And now there's another one. So
well, it made too much money.
Maybe it'll be like a Vita special game or something. I mean, I don't know exactly what the details are, but... sure looks like it's going to be a full PlayStation 3 release, kind of killing that whole idea of the trilogy.
I haven't even opened my part 3. It's still sealed, sitting on my shelf.
I played a little bit of 1, and I was like, yeah, that's alright, whatever, and didn't really get into it. And then I got the PSP game, and that was god-awful terrible. And I never played any others. The PSP game really killed it for me, because that game was bad.
Yeah, but it was on the PSP. What'd you want?
You know, there are some good games on the PSP. I know it surprises you. I know it surprises you. There have been some fantastic games.
Padawan. I like that game. Pataton. What is that? I can't pronounce it.
Yeah, I know what you...
It's the rhythm. Yeah, it's the rhythm game. That was pretty amazing. I love that game. There's a part 3 out, and I didn't realize that. I saw it the other day.
Really? There's a 3? Because I played 1 and I remember 2 coming out. But
2 is a digital download, but they also put it in a format. And then they
2 I saw on
now 3 is actually out because I was at GameStop the other day. And I saw part 3 and I was like, oh, great, but I'll probably never play it. But I kind of want to own it.
Loco Roco. Those were great games on the PSP.
You shut your mouth.
Those are fantastic. And then you had Fat Princess, one of my favorites, and Pixel Junk Monsters. You can't beat that one.
I think you just made those games up.
No, those are real games, and they're fantastic. Fat Princess is great. You gotta try it.
I don't even know what that is.
It's basically you're trying to rescue your princess from the other castle and bring her back, at the same time guarding your enemy's princess in your castle. But in order to keep them from being able to take the castle, you feed her cake to make her fat so she's heavier, so she's harder to lift. And then over time she gets skinny again, so you throw more cake at her to keep her fat, so they have to get more people to pick her up to carry her back. And the fatter she is, the slower that they move taking her back, so you have a chance to whack them and take the princess back.
And you can like just buy this at a store?
Yeah, it's a download and UMD.
That sounds...
It's fantastic.
Fat Princess.
With your PSP Go that you have, because you love the Go technology so much, and you bought one of those at launch, I remember, you can download it directly off the PlayStation Network.
Well, I'll check that out.
Fat Princess is really good.
Great
strategy game.
It's probably terrible.
No, it's a great strategy game. All right. Microsoft is hiring a Skype programmer for the Xbox. Now, no real details have come out yet, but the rumor is they are working on a Kinect version of Skype to run on the 360. So that way it'll be voice activated, or maybe you can do this if you want to make a phone call. I'm not sure exactly how they're going to program it, but you know what? You're going to have great options where you can go, gee, I don't know, should we call Mom? And then suddenly your Xbox will call your mom. And then you'll have your mom's voice coming through the TV wondering, you know.
As she's Skyping you back playing some Halo.
But, well, yeah, but Skype can call real phones. You can get real,
stuff. You obviously want to Skype somebody else with a camera so you can video chat.
Depends on what they look like.
Like playing your game.
Depends on what they look like.
Then, you can start doing Skype sexing while playing Modern Warfare 3.
Huh.
Yeah, it's a new thing.
Oh, baby, you're so hot. Hold on, headshot!
Yeah, it's going to be a new thing, trust me.
All right. But anyway, that appeared on the Game Industry Biz employment section. They actually had the ad up there looking for the Skype programmer.
We need one engineer. Really, Microsoft? A little cheap.
A guy.
Cheap. We need an engineer.
We're looking for a guy. You backed the Banner Saga on Kickstarter, didn't you?
Yep.
All right, well, Banner Saga did hit the funding mark they were looking for, which will now bring it to Xbox Live Arcade and PlayStation Network. Plus, they're going to add player-owned cities.
Yeah.
So basically, the money they wanted, $650,000. They went past $700,000. So they said that was enough. Now that they can add.
They wanted $400,000 originally, and they.
I guess $650,000 was what they wanted to hit in order to do the Xbox Live and PlayStation Network, and now they're well past $700,000. So
yeah. Anyways, I funded that. I'm getting a copy of the game when it's available, and it's probably gonna be okay.
Actually, I'm wondering what their final tally was. $723,000.
Yeah, they wanted $100,000.
They wanted $100,000. Got $723,000.
Terrible.
That's it. That's all you can get.
Well, I wonder how much they give up to Kickstarter. $23,000.
I wonder. What does Kickstarter?
Kickstarter must be making a lot of money.
Just I don't know.
Have you seen some? Because if let's say they're taking 5%, and which is small, and how many multi-million-dollar Kickstarters have they funded already? Kickstarters.
I mean, they're making. Yeah,
they're banking.
They're making some money.
Some banking.
Although there's a lot of stuff that never gets funded. I don't know. Have you looked through some of the stuff that was not successfully funded?
It doesn't matter, man.
Like, one guy had a stick with a bunch of different ruler measurements on it.
And he didn't.
And he didn't make his funding. How weird.
We've been looking for a ruler for a long time.
Yeah, but this was a stick. This was the rule stick or something. I forget what it was.
Oh, I funded a couple games on there.
I've done a couple too. Anyway, there's some good stuff on there. All right. Next up, those of you who have a Vita, I think Nasty Will got a Vita. Basically, if you purchased PSP titles, Hot Shots Tennis, or MotorStorm Arctic Rift off the PlayStation Network, they found out that there were exploits in there for running Homebrew. And people were able to load all kinds of softwares onto the Vitas through the Homebrews. And so Sony pulled those off the market, did some updates to the Vita, they re-released them to the market. Those holes have been closed, and now the guys at Wolalo.net who do a lot of the hacking stuff, have said they found a new exploit. They're not telling people what game it's through or how it's being done or anything like that, but they said they found a new exploit, and under the new firmware 1.67, they have found a way to run their own homebrew again, and they're up and running Doom as proof of concept. So, all of you people who are freaking out because they closed that hole, it looks like Sony just wasn't clever enough.
So, what do? They sit around and buy all the games and then backwards engineer them to find out what holes they got?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how exactly they do it.
There's some super nerds sitting around tearing apart these games so they can...
But I mean, if that's your hobby, you know, I mean,
I just don't
it's a good time.
I just don't get it.
There's a lot of stuff that people do as hobbies that are really kind of hard to understand. Back to gaming news. Let's see, what do we got here? We got a firmware update for the 3DS coming April 25th. This is going to clean up your home screen.
That's my birthday.
What?
April 25th.
Well, I have to get it before we get drunk then.
April 25th.
What day of the week is that?
It's Wednesday.
Ooh, new comic book day.
Yeah.
So we can read comics and get drunk on your birthday.
Happy birthday to me.
That sounds like a good time. New comic book day on your birthday. Let's see. So anyway, the new firmware update, one of the big things it has is cleaning up your home screen. Instead of having just the 2 rows of icons, you can now add a 3rd row, and you can now add folders. That's the big deal here. You can have a folder system. You can put up to 60 icons per folder and give them whatever title you want.
Whoa, not since Windows 3.1 have we ever had that technology.
Yeah, but this is the first for the 3DS.
That's a little ridiculous.
Maybe I can run Windows 3.1 on my 3DS.
I'm sure
Wouldn't
you
that be
could.
cool?
I'm sure you could.
Dude, if I could run Windows 3.1 in 3D and have the bottom screen be like the mouse pad.
I'm sure you could run with 98 because I'm pretty sure the 3DS technology is slightly more
powerful enough.
Yeah.
Hey, it might even run XP.
What?
Yeah, I know. Now we're getting all giggly. You can run XP?
And those are our hobbies.
Well, I do stuff like that, don't I?
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, that'll be fun. Animal Crossing for the 3DS has been given a fall release in Japan, which means probably a spring release for English-speaking countries. Basically, there's a lot of text that has to be translated, so it takes a while. But coming out in Japan, it has the name Tobadasi Dobutsu no More, which translated means Leap Out Animal Crossing. So it's Animal Crossing coming at you, leaping out at you in the full D's of 3.
Sometimes I wish everybody spoke English so we can get all the games all the time.
Didn't we just have a conversation about that?
I know, but this is kind of a little bit ridiculous because they get all the games and we only get like a fraction of what they get.
Because they take, or sometimes like with RPGs and stuff, we get them 3, 4, 5, 6 years later.
And what's so sad is Japanese games are sometimes so bizarre they would be amazing.
Like the ones of the well-endowed guys in the little Speedos that shoot laser beams out of their heads at other big, fruity-looking dudes, right? Those are your favorite Japanese games?
I would play it just because it's so ridiculous.
I like the Japanese games where you're on like the subway and there's like a pretty young girl, looks like she's in elementary school, and then like the little hands appear and you braid her hair.
Oh,
braid her hair, yeah.
That's right.
Those are my favorite Japanese
Subway
games.
creeper hair braiding. I love it.
Creepy hairstylist, Subway edition. That's my favorite. Although I say Subway edition and someone's going to make one with a big sandwich.
See, so now we got to kickstart that project.
Ooh, hey, let's open a Kickstarter. Anyone think they can program? Let's get on that.
You know, I'm pretty sure you find some people who can do the things you want to do and then you just kickstart it and you can succeed just about anything.
Anything?
Just about anything.
Anything?
Any game you want to make. You just
what about a live streaming pop culture network show?
We should just kickstart a new show.
Just
so we only need $1,000.
It'll be a weekly Ustream show.
We'll ask for a small amount of money. That way we can guarantee we'll get our goal. And then
we need $5 to make this happen.
And then we'll get funded like,
we'll have to
$372,000 and be like, what are we going to do with all that money?
We have to extend this another 5 days because we only got $4.78.
Here's the thing I don't understand about Kickstarter. Where's the accountability for the money that you gave to those people? You know what I mean? Like, You just freely give them money, and they say, "Oh, we'll spend it."
Yeah, you just have to assume that they're going to follow through with what they say. I mean, I don't know if there's any sort of refund system, but that is something to think about when you go into those. Let's see. There is a class action lawsuit now against Facebook based on the Facebook credits program. Basically, the argument is that when parents go in to buy credits on the Facebook system for their kids, there's no way to actually... easy way to shut it off and make sure that the kids don't continue to buy more after that. It's kind of a problem we ran into in our house one time. My son was playing My Rainforest game or something like that, and he just started clicking on random things, and next thing we knew, he'd spent like $40 in Facebook credits. So, are you a Facebook credit? No, you're not?
Do you like Facebook?
Do you play games on Facebook? Do you play My Rainforest? Good.
Do you play Margaritaville?
Margaritaville Online represent. What?
Do you play Draw Something?
Draw Something's not on Facebook.
It's linked to Facebook.
Well, yeah, it's got a Facebook page, but who doesn't?
No, you have to log in through Facebook.
You can log in through Facebook,
but most
you
people
don't
do.
have to.
Most people do.
You don't have to.
Yeah, in your face.
So anyway, most people are looking at the Facebook lawsuit under the terms that.
Okay, quiet.
Most people are looking at the fact that you have to, if you're under 13, you're not supposed to be able to sign up. If you're over 13 but under 18, you're supposed to have your parents' permission. They're saying that, you know, kids who are 14, 15 are probably signing up, getting their parents' credit card, and there's no way of double checking to make sure that it's a legitimate transaction. But other parts of the lawsuit are actually pointing to the fact that when kids click on saying that they want credits, there's nothing actually popping up and saying you are spending real world money to buy these game credits. My son thought it was one of those things where it's like on like an iPod game where it says insert a coin and he clicks a button and it makes a coin drop in the slot. He thought it was something along those lines. He didn't think it was using real money.
How much did you buy?
He was like $42 worth of Facebook credits.
How much is that? Is that a lot?
And that was, I don't know, like 2 million Facebook credits. I mean, I don't know exactly how much it was, but he was just buying all sorts of stuff with the game, and that's what it cost. So, So anyway, we just said it's a learning experience on our part. We went up and actually just changed the credit card information to something that was wrong.
Well, they should make you re-enter it.
Yeah, you would think you should have to put in like the 3-digit code,
code
on the back, and that's what you have to do on almost all other sites. But Facebook doesn't do that. It just stores the information and then it's there. So they just click and it's paid for.
Which seems like a really security issue.
It does seem like a big flaw. And if someone hacked into your account, which did happen to me last year, if someone did hack into your account, there'd be nothing to stop them from just buy, and buying a whole bunch of stuff and charging it to your account, and there's nothing you can do about it. Like, especially if they're going to gift it, they go in and gift, presents in a game to themselves and just charge it to your card.
Well, then you link it to them.
But again,
I just give it randomly.
You don't have to type in the 3-digit code or the expiration date or the zip code of the billing address or any of those security measures that they use on other websites. So that's a problem they're looking for. Do you know we're doing a show? See the camera there? See the screen there? And there's us. You can see us on the screen there next to the camera. That's because we're doing a show right now.
Okay.
Yeah? Now, do you want to do an alphabet show later where you sing the alphabet? Maybe we could do that, but right now we're doing a game show, okay? Okay?
So you gotta be quiet.
Is your hair made out of cake?
No.
'Cause it smells like cake.
I don't know what kind of cake you're eating, but some floor cake maybe.
I like floor cake. Floor cake with Flamunda cheese. All right. New Super Mario Brothers 2 is coming to North America this August.
As soon as it gets translated.
Let's see. This will actually be a semi-simultaneous release of Japan and the United States. Now they say semi-simultaneous because they probably won't be the exact same day. Might be a week apart, something like that, but they're working on having the game in Japan and the United States same time.
Because, I mean, honestly, how much voice is Mario going to do? So they probably just have to translate title screens and credits.
Yeah, I'm wondering, if anybody here is in Japan or you play a lot of import games, especially Mario games, does Mario still say, "It's me, Mario," in a bad Italian voice in the Japanese games? Or do they actually have like a Japanese guy, like, "Hoso, Mario, hoi," And, you know, that's what they do in the Japanese version.
I bet they use the English version because it's funny.
You think they just used Mario?
Because it's so funny, yeah.
So I wonder if there is a lot of translation, or if it's just, you know, some words here and there on the title screens. How tough is it to write "Our princess is in another castle"?
Well, I mean, judging on past translations of games, it's probably terribly hard.
All right. For those of you who have an Xbox, you're into Xbox Live games, you may have heard of a little game called Trials Evolution.
Never.
Yeah, well, you don't play games, so
I do.
You wouldn't know.
I don't play online.
But Trials Evolution, Microsoft has touted Trials Evolution as the highest grossing day sales in Xbox Live arcade history. And a lot of people are asking, what does that mean? What does it mean to have the highest grossing day sales in Xbox Live arcade history? They don't know. Nobody seems to know. Microsoft hasn't really explained what that means. But they're saying that it's the highest grossing day sales in Xbox Live arcade history. So basically, the game costs about $15. They figure it made about $1.5 million in about 24 hours. So maybe that's just because it sold so well. They don't have any exact numbers, but it looks like that they made about 1 million sales.
And what's the game about?
You're in a shadowy world driving a dirt bike on weird environments.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Best game ever.
Definitely worth $15, right? So anyway. Let's see. A couple months ago, there was a leak of a game called Title Fight coming to PlayStation. Looked like it was going to be a game of a bunch of PlayStation iconic characters, like the clown from Twisted Metal, the chick from Heavenly Sword, Kratos from God of War, all coming together in some sort of big Super Smash Brothers type game. Because, you know, we love Super Smash Brothers.
Oh.
I mean, that's like our favorite game.
Yeah, yeah.
Anywhere of any franchise.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like it's now gotten the official name of PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. And in fact, Sony Computer Entertainment America LLC has trademarked PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale and has bought or registered the domain of www.playstationallstarsbattleroyale.com.
That's a long .com.
That is kind of a long. Not as bad as some of the other names we've seen, like clownpenis.fart, but, you know, it is a pretty good name.
Muffins.
Muffins?
I call them muffins.
Earmuffs?
I say muffins.
Because you forgot what the name was?
No, because she won't know.
Oh. So anyway, those of you looking forward to some Super Smash Brothers fun in the Sony sort of environment.
I think it's kind of ridiculous that I put the word PlayStation in the .com as if you didn't know. You know,
instead of just All-Stars Battle Royale.
Yeah, I think that would have been, that's probably taken. But.
And it's also not, it's not Battle Royal. Because that was my first instinct to say Battle Royal. Because, I mean, Battle Royal. It's the Royal Rumble, Battle Royal. But this is actually Royale, as in with cheese.
Hamburger.
So, Royale with cheese, Battle Royale, there is an E at the end.
Battle Hamburger, it's a Hungry
Battle Hamburger, I'd play that game.
Well, you know, the popularity of the Hunger Games, they thought it would be smart to...
Call it the Hamburger Games?
Yep.
The Hamburger Games. Kickstarter parody project. Who wants to make a movie? The Hamburger Games? Huh?
Me.
Yeah, that's what I thought. You like hamburgers, right? All right, now, we're talking about Kickstarter a minute ago. Several times, actually. Kickstarter on this show, like every week, there's Kickstarter news. Well, apparently, a new European company has decided that it's time for a game-focused Kickstarter-like fan-funded project website. So it's video games only, and it's called Gamebitious. Basically, they took the word ambitious, put a G at the front. Instead of calling it Gambitious, you would call it Gamebitious, which sounds a little dirty, but regardless, basically, they're launching this sometime around the time of E3. It will be European-centric, but there's going to be nothing to stop United States developers, Canadian developers, Japanese developers. I mean, there's nothing going to stop other people from doing it, but it'll just have that Eurocentric feel to it because there are a lot of European game designers, especially some coming out of Eastern Europe and in the Northern Europe areas. But basically, they're doing crowdfunding for video games. Their tagline is pitch, get funded, develop.
That's, dude, like everybody wants some of that Kickstarter money. That's all that is.
I mean, well, like you said, I mean, how many millions are they making funding some of these projects?
By not actually doing anything.
Well, they run the website.
They facilitate the platform.
Someone had to. Well, that's like eBay. I mean, what's eBay doing?
Selling virtual nothing.
I mean, really, and eBay, how much money does eBay make?
Oh gosh.
How much money do they make off you?
Billions of dollars. I think they got a new number for them.
And then not only is eBay, but of course eBay bought PayPal. There's a lot of money that comes there just from laundering money around the planet. That's really all that is.
Yep.
So
I think they boast like 90 million customers or something crazy.
So I mean, just from those things alone, you've got this huge market of virtual money. Whoever comes up with the idea first and just puts that website together, there you go. So they're going to do games only. I'm wondering if there's going to be a book Bicious coming soon, or comic Bicious, tech Bicious, any of those other centric ones.
Look, I try to use some of the tech Kickstarter projects, but they're always way too expensive.
Yeah, that's part of the problem. Because like with a game, it's like $15. You're getting a copy of the game, and if you want to do more, you can. But all the tech stuff, where it's like a watch that logs into your Android account and pulls in information, I'm like, okay, that's cool. $115.
And you got to put it together yourself.
Yeah, like that's the dumbest thing.
Yeah, that's too much.
I mean, come on, $35 at the most.
You give me homework for $100 some dollars. No.
Anyway, all right, that's gonna do it for the news. We're gonna take a quick commercial break, and then when we come back, we're gonna talk about some of the game releases that are coming up this week. Doesn't that sound like fun? No? Oh, my mistake. Sorry.
Yes.
Yes, it does. We'll be right back after this.
And we're back. Yay!
Yay!
Ready to talk about the games releasing on technically the last week of, not technically, but virtually the last week of April. Well, the 30th is a Monday, and then the start of the next month is the Tuesday. So, for the last full week of April, here's the title you're going to get.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, is that good?
Yeah, last full week, yes.
All right. So, coming out this, my birthday week too, by the way.
Woo! New Comic Book Day birthday!
So, coming out, the first game we have for the Wii is called El Chavo. And it is a downloadable game off the store.
Off the store for what system?
For the Wii.
And it's about Chavo Guerrero?
El Chavo is a collection of multiplayer minigames, party games, based on the Spanish TV show character El Chavo. I don't know what that means.
So, is El Chavo Chavo Guerrero or not?
So, you're not Spanish enough to
Man,
understand that.
If it's not Chavo Guerrero, I'm not interested.
For all my Latinas and Latinos, there you go. You got your game.
For that one friend you have that doesn't like me?
Oh, yeah. Julio.
Julio?
Yeah.
Julio who hates me?
Up next for the 360, we have a game called Akai Katana Sen. Anyways, it's a downloadable game off the 360, and basically it is a shooter game, a side-scrolling shooter with a anime twist to it. So it is, like a 1943.
But it looks like Metal Slug?
No, it's a straight airplane shooter, but it's like a futuristic anime-style version of that game.
Like cartoony
like
anime?
Cartoon monsters.
Or like Robotech anime?
And you're shooting with a spaceship and stuff like that.
Huh.
And up next for the DS, we have Chuck E. Cheese Arcade Room, which is another downloadable game.
Does it smell like pizza?
Basically, this game just simulates you playing classic-style arcade games and winning tickets and then using those tickets to buy prizes.
But didn't they already have this on the DS?
Yes, they have a game called Party Room.
Oh, that was Party Room. This is Arcade Room.
Right, this is Arcade Room.
Ah.
Completely different.
Yeah, well, it sounds like a completely different concept.
So you're going to play a lot of like the basketball games, the skee ball games, just ridiculous games like that, and then you're going to get some tickets, and then you're going to buy some virtual garbage. and there you go. Keep your kids busy, It's obviously a kid's game. It's not going to be anything amazing, but there it is. Up next for the 360, another downloadable game. We got a lot of them this week. It is a game called Bloodforge. And Bloodforge is a dark, brutal action combat game set in the ancient Celtic world. Now, if you guys remember a game called Viking that came out several years ago,
Vaguely.
Think of another game like that. It's basically like an action, almost like a Oblivion style view game where it's kind of like Mad World for the Wii, but without being in black and white, full color. And you're like an ancient dark world, and you're just cutting and just murdering and making very bloody things, extremely bloody.
So does this have like RPG elements, or is it just straight up
action
hack and slash?
Yeah, kind of hack and slash, ancient combat. But the trailer of it is very bloody. You're going to be pretty surprised by how ridiculous it is. But so it kind of reminds me of Mad World in a way. Let's see. Up next for the 3DS, we got a game called Shifting World, and they say it's a puzzle game that is the first in the Shift series to adapt the famous puzzle game to a full 3D platform. I never played the Shift thing. I'm not really sure.
There was a what? Award-winning Shift series. So there was originally a game called Shift.
Puzzle style game that looks.
And what did that come on?
I don't know. But now it's on 3D.
Oh, there's Shift and Shift 2. Shift and Shift 2. It's an app. It's an iTunes game. So it was a iPhone, iPod game.
Didn't play because it's stupid. Oh, that's right.
So,
sorry.
But now they've made it 3D. Well, you know what? If your game's not on Android, it's not really a game.
Well
but
said.
This one's going on the 3DS, so that counts as making it a real game. So now, Shifting World.
And this just in.
We got Happy Sunshine.
Happy Sunshine all day.
All right. Okay, well, then I'll play the 3DS version. I'll at least check it out.
At least now it's a legitimate game.
Yeah, now that it's a real game and not just I poop.
Let's see. Up next for the PC, PS3, and 360 for downloadable only is the UEFA Euro 2012, which is, of course, a FIFA-style soccer game. Apparently, this is going to be a digital-only expansion for FIFA 12.
Soccer game?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I believe it's called Football.
And basically, it's going to just do an update to the stadiums, the teams, the rosters, and all that, and bring everything up to date.
The stadiums?
I guess there's been changes.
Because of all the riots and the fighting that breaks out and people setting fires.
They damage them.
They got to put the smoke clouds in there.
So for all
Can't play in Norway.
So for
it's burning.
all you FIFA lovers out there, you get an update already.
Both of you.
Yay.
Of course, this update's only available in the U.S. market. That would make it.
Oh, that'd
be great, wouldn't it?
It'd sell some not good. Let's see. Up for the PS3 and 360 this week, we do have a major release coming out, Prototype 2, which is, of course, a major retail release.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have seen any of the trailers. I'm sure you have, but this game is basically changing the main character, and you're going after the character from the first one. Is your main goal to kill Alex Mercer?
Did you play the first one?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, the thing was, the first one, Infamous and Prototype, came out at the same time.
Super confusing because they were similar games.
Yeah, and they were so much alike, and Infamous I like so much more. There were a lot, like Prototype had some cool things going for it, but overall I just felt like Infamous was a much better realized world. As you moved through it, the people interacted better, the buildings looked better, things like that.
Yeah, I played Infamous more than I played, because I played Prototype really short, but I played Infamous almost completely through.
Yeah, so I thought Infamous was a better game, but when I went back later, after I was done with Infamous and all that had kind of worn off, and then I sat down and started playing through Prototype, on its own, I enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was a really, great game. It was really well done and it had some really neat concepts to it, but it just came out at the same time as Infamous, and I think that just kind of killed the initial buzz.
Everybody was probably confused on which.
People were like, "Oh, did you play that game where you become like the super powered guy who can run up the walls and stuff?" Like, "Oh, you mean Infamous?" No, it's the one where the guy's like you can either do the good guy stuff or the bad guy stuff. You mean Infamous? No. Well, you got knives on your hands and you're wearing a hoodie. Oh, you mean prototype? Okay. You know, I mean, it was a lot of the same.
You're playing a new prototype character, and your main goal is to take out Alex Mercer, who was the main focus of the first one.
So it's like RoboCop 2, except through the eyes of RoboCop 2 instead of RoboCop trying to take down RoboCop 2.
Okay.
Did you see RoboCop 2?
Yeah.
So it's about the second RoboCop. There's a RoboCop 2.
Okay.
So in this one, in Prototype 2, there's a second prototype, except this time you are Kane, the dealer of nuke, who becomes the big guy and takes down the first one. Mm-hmm. But you can't beat the first RoboCop, so I'm wondering if Prototype 2 is not going to be able to take down the first prototype.
Essentially,
I think that's a spoiler.
Oh, that's just saying. Happy faces and alphabets. Okay, so essentially, in this new game, I mean, you're still going to have the same elements as the first, but another cool ability that they showed a video is that you can kind of do a necromancer style thing where you can summon these creatures to fight for you, and you can tell them what to do. You can kind of sit back like on a building and watch the whole battle unfold that your creations are doing, and then whenever you decide you want to go and fight one-on-one, you can kill your monsters off and then jump into the battle. So it is kind of a cool game just because it does seem like the open world environment's much improved, and the AI of the
because that was one problem
NPCs are better
the
now.
First game. They had a whole bunch of like skyscrapers and stuff, but they were just like the same reflective window walls over and over. Whereas in Infamous, you had all these neat stone buildings and things that you were climbing up, so you actually felt like you were moving into different environments and on different buildings. Whereas Prototype was a lot of the same cookie cutter building, over and over again.
Yeah, so it looks like they improved that, and that's going to make it almost gave it like a Grand Theft Auto style engine. So it looks like it's going to be a lot more fun to play this time around versus the first time. And then, of course, the last game we do have this week is Risen 2 Dark Waters for the PC, which is a role-playing game. And it's set several years at the end of Risen 1. And basically the Titans have devastated the world, and you're pushing... the humanity's been pushed to the brink of, brink of existence. And now the game's going to focus more on a pirate theme versus the original. Because now it's going out to the waters and you're trying to fight the Kraken.
So it's like Waterworld?
Kind of, but it's more like Dark Pirates of Dark Water. How about that?
Can you pee into a Mr. Coffee?
And get Taster's Choice? Absolutely.
Because that was the best part of Waterworld.
So that's the last game for this week, and it is a good sequel. Set pirate theme, so that should be a lot better. But that's it. That's all we have for this last week of April. So for all you guys out there looking to buy a game, looks like Prototype 2 is going to be one of your own major retails. Everything else you're going to have to download, which is starting to become the trend now. More and more games are being released downloadable and less retail. So take that game stuff.
And there's, as weird as it may seem, there are less and less people that have a problem with that. Games becoming downloadable only is just kind of...
I got a problem with that. I got a big...
Well, I know you do, but for the consumer, most people just don't seem that worried about it. And they kind of see it as, keeping their games safe in the cloud to bring them back later. But all right, we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we got a couple fan corner questions that we will discuss, and then we will call it a day. So stay tuned. We'll be back right after this.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching our videos on the Pop Culture Network. We do hope that you will help support us by visiting shoppcn.com, where you'll find all these amazing toys, comic books, DVDs, video games, random geek goodness, all brought to you at an incredibly great price. Every dollar you spend helps contribute to the Pop Culture Network.
Wake up, we're back!
Oh, yeah.
Hey, yeah, you can't sleep. We got to keep on trucking right through this show. Just a couple things to talk about in the fan corner, a couple questions, a couple comments, whatever. Whatever.
Let's hear what you...
So anyway, we're going to do this, then wrap up the show for
say.
this week. You call them mugs?
I was going to say something worse, but mugs seem appropriate.
PokeSonic Fan 287 asked about last week's episode, or 2 weeks ago episode, whatever, last episode. Did you make that Tetris joke about Brental Floss's video?
Me?
Yes, you made a Tetris joke.
I have no clue what I said.
And I don't know who Brental Floss is. So I think the answer on that one is no.
What did I say about Tetris?
I don't know. We were talking about Tetris. I think, well, okay, here's probably we were talking about Tetris. Made some jokes about Tetris because we had just gotten some Tetris stuff in the mail. There's a new company making Tetris games.
Right.
So we got a Tetris card game. We got a Tetris like Connect 4 type game, and so we were talking about Tetris quite a lot those few days. Talking about Tetris like trying to translate into other things and not working so well. So I'm not sure exactly what the comment was or what the joke was, but it had nothing to do with anyone else's video. I can tell you that right now. So, but send us a link. Maybe we'll watch it.
Yeah, because I don't know what that is, but whatever.
But, you know, anyway. Mushroom Hill wants to know, how do you guys feel about the Infamous games? Which, oddly enough, we just kind of discussed. Really liked them. I thought they were great. Did you play 2 at all?
No, I didn't. But you know what? And I think I might play Prototype 2 if one comes into the store, and I'll play it, and I'll maybe try Infamous 2. But I don't know. I kind of Infamous, like, I was almost done with the game. I didn't beat it completely. The first one, I was only like to the last section of the map, whatever, and I just got repetitive really quick.
Yeah. One of the problems I had with Infamous, the first one, was you'd hit certain areas where, like, say you're defending the prison, and the giant trash monster thing, robot thing, is coming to attack, and it's not, the objectives aren't clear on how to beat them. Because, like, you pick up stuff and you throw it at him, and you pick up stuff and you throw it at him, but nothing's really standing out as, like, a weak point. Like, that's the point you have to target. That's what you have to attack. So it just seems like you're just throwing stuff at him until he finally gives up and falls over. And without any sort of, like, feedback, like, yes, I'm attacking the right area, or signs that pieces of him are falling off and, like, an arm falls off and he's getting weaker. Without some of that stuff, it just kind of felt like...
Yeah, because you constantly had to run away and him chase you down the road.
Yeah, and it just seemed like there was a lot of stuff where they just needed to clean that up a little bit, give it a little more polish, and it would have made a little more sense. But yeah, overall, I love the Infamous games. They're a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed playing them. And actually, someone brought in a PlayStation 3 a couple weeks ago to be fixed, and they had a copy of Infamous in the drive. And so to make sure their PlayStation was, fixed, we turned it on and played it for about 10 minutes. So I replayed that opening intro scene where you wake up after the big... destruction is hit, and you got to escape and find your buddy, and you're starting to use your powers.
I think you just made that an excuse to play the game.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
You absolutely didn't have to play the game to see if it
I had to make sure the drive was working, that it was reading the disc fine,
If it loaded the game, it works.
Yeah, well, you want to make sure it's streaming correctly off the disc.
Yeah,
so.
Streaming. Correctly.
Streaming off the disc.
It's that technical term.
Yeah, So, I enjoyed it a lot. So, good game. All right. Chaotix 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Salutations, Almighty Lord Killen and Duke of DiRT. I beseech thee to answer these 3 chivalrous game-related questions. Okay, I'll stop now. Good, thank you. 1. If you could give any specific game a sequel, which would you choose?
For me, Sid Meier's Pirates needed a sequel. They did a remake, and they essentially made the same game, but they cartooned it, and they took out, like... Okay, if you ever played the PC version of the game, I love that game. It's probably one of my favorite games of all time. But in the PC version, like, there was the top 10 pirates, and if you killed the people off the list, the computer would randomly generate new pirate names and new pirates to go after, and there were pirate hunters that had specific names that would come chase you if you were doing too much looting, whatever. And those names would change, and there were families. They had family names, so like, if you killed his uncle, maybe the nephew would come for you eventually, and you could, ransom off the people when you captured them, and you could ransom them off. When they made the remake game on the platform, on the PC and then on the platforms, it took away that. There was a top 10 pirates, and if you got rid of the top 10, that was it. There's no more pirates.
Oh, it wouldn't generate new ones?
And there was no pirate hunters. They totally got rid of that. They got totally rid of the ransoming of the people you captured. So those were like some of the funnest parts of the game. Everything else was pretty much the same, and then they cartooned it a lot and made the graphics real goofy. And
so you want a sequel to the original PC game
of the same engine, right? I want the same type of game. There wasn't online, like some company took the engine, the original PC engine, and they made an online multiplayer game using that engine with the same principle. But I don't know, it wasn't run very well, so I had a lot of problems loading the game and working it and stuff like that. It was confusing, and there wasn't that many players.
And Sid Meier didn't work on it.
Right, so it wasn't that great. But that's the game I really want a direct sequel to, and I want it to a little more prettier, and the graphics to update a little better. And I want the same basics. We're going out, we're going to just rob ships and sell all the stuff off. Rob ships, sell all the stuff off. I really don't need the mention of a story or anything like that. So that's what I want for a sequel.
For me, if I was going to pick a sequel to any game, I'd pick the original Grim Fandango. Well, the only Grim Fandango. But it was a point-and-click adventure game on the PC, and the characters were just great. Loved that game. Loved playing the characters and everything about that game. So if they were to make a sequel using those characters, using that game engine, I miss Manuel and all of his friends in the Land of the Dead. That would be so great if they could just bring back Grim Fandango. So, sequel to that. Because that was one of the things, too. That was a Tim Schafer game, was Grim Fandango. And I loved it so much. And then he came out with games like Psychonauts and Brutal Legend. And people were like, oh, they have the same great characterization. They did, but they were completely different gameplay. And I didn't like the platforming of those games. I love the point-and-click adventure of the original one. So I'm so glad that Double Fine Adventure is going to be coming out, going back to the point-and-click adventure, because I don't like the platforming stuff in Psychonauts, and I'm glad that they're kind of going back to that easier stuff. All right, number 2. What is the weirdest or most obscure game you have ever played?
Okay, well, it's hard to say which is the craziest one, but the one I remember is when I used to sell arcade machines. I don't even know the name of the game, but I'll explain it to you. It was it was like a square, and you had a little line, and you had to hurry up and draw boxes, and connect the boxes from the points of the line to reveal a picture and you had the line completed before something that was floating in the middle hit the line and broke it. And then as you'd have to keep making you have to make a quick line and connect it to the other side so it could reveal the picture before the ball would hit your line. And if you did, you'd destroy your line. But the great thing about it is when you were all done, it was always a pornography picture. And sometimes it'd be straight up nude picture of a woman. Sometimes it'd be an anime style drawing. I have no idea what the name of the game was, but when I bought it, I was like, "Oh man, I don't know how we're gonna sell this. It's totally inappropriate." but it was amazing because it was a fun game. And you weren't gonna know what it was that came out. So when you were done and you saw the picture, you're like, "Oh, that's totally not what I expected." So that was the most bizarro game.
I've been trying to find the game because I wanted to show it to you so you could see what it was, but I can't remember the actual name of it, so I can't find it. Because, of course, the words I would use to describe it don't go to anything that's we can share publicly. But the game, the arcade box you had the actual arcade game, and then there's the section built out. You know when you have shooter games, they have the little sniper rifle or the machine gun or whatever. Well, built on the front of this one was the back half of somebody bent over. So you had the cheeks, and in the middle
you're playing an inappropriate game.
In the middle there was a hole, and it came with a long rod. And the point of the game is that you were hunting down rapists and molesters, and when you caught them, they were being shackled, and then you were ramming them until they couldn't take the pain anymore and they passed out. And this was a straight up arcade game.
I think you jumped that.
And I played it. I only ever played it in Europe. I don't think it ever got a release here in the United States. But it looked like jeans with a hole in it, bent over, and then you had this long white rod that you...
Wait, so how did you play the other part of the game? Was there a control panel?
Yeah. So you'd have the little control thing, and you would grab the guy.
What did that look like?
It was all in Korean or Japanese or something.
So was it what's the graphics look like?
Late 90s arcade.
So, okay, so you catch them, and then it's all of a sudden this robotic butt starts jiggling or something, and you gotta stab it.
If I remember correctly, it would vibrate, it had gyros in there that would just make it shake, like as it was feeling the pain or whatever. But I mean, you took this thing and you would go, and it would go down, you know, like 6-8 inches, and then you would hit like a sensor, like thunk, thunk. So the idea was you were supposed to take it and just go thunka 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 as the person's screaming until they pass out.
That is the most ridiculous game.
And I'm trying to find it, but the words that you use to describe what the game is are just finding inappropriate images on Google image search. Okay, well, we found an image. I can't really share this with you guys, but this is a similar game. I don't know if this is like maybe the sequel or something. But here on this one, we've got black pants and boots, and then the controller in this one looks like a hand doing this that you take and...
I cannot believe there's games like this out there.
Oh, this is Korea.
And that's totally, like, acceptable.
Yeah, and there's this, like, 3D image... 3D modeled image of just this like businessman, like angry boss or something.
So the game might translate to butt fingering. Like, so what? I mean, I don't know what you would even call that, but that's widely inappropriate, and I'm super upset they didn't have that stuff here because that would be one of the best games ever.
And there's another one I found while we were going through the images of a spanking game that was kind of similar, and it had like wife, mother-in-law, boss, husband, police officer, whatever, and that one came with a paddle that you would spank, and it had the big cheeks. So yeah, so there you go. So there's a whole genre of these games.
All these games come out in the Korea area, and we don't get none of them.
Or you got to go to places like Amsterdam to find them.
It's ridiculous. Down
by the wharf, by the ocean, the Chicago Ocean. All right, last question for the show. Are there any games that were released only in a specific region that you would have liked a chance to play or to own? Personally, I really wanted to see the PS2 remake of the Sega Saturn classic Nights into Dreams hit the States.
Well, apparently I want the spanking game.
You want the Japanese butt game.
The butt fingering game and the plunger and the bunghole game. Right now there is a release of a RPG that's on the PSP that's in Japan called Suikoden 1 and 2, which is the original,
we talked about on here.
Yeah, which is the original PlayStation 1 and 2 games on a PSP disc combined. I want that. I want that to be translated and released here because I love both those games. The problem with both those games is the US versions of them are very expensive. They're over $100 a piece. So to have both of them on a PSP would be great because they're probably one of my favorite all-time RPG games of all time.
The game that I can think of, there was a Ultimate Muscle, was a big property here in the U.S. around 2002, 2003, somewhere in there. And we got a GameCube game that got kind of reworked, translated to the PS2. But there was an arcade game came out in Japan that was released on the PS2 in Japan that we didn't get here in the U.S. And I always wanted to own a U.S. version. I actually imported a copy of the Japanese version, but then they started doing all their lockouts on the discs that you could use to play the import games and whatever. But it was basically just a fast and furious wrestling game, as if it was a fighter, set in the wrestling ring that had all of the Ultimate Muscle figures, and they really did a great job of putting this game engine together that was really, high detail, much better than what the PS2 could do, at the time. Really pushed the graphics on it, and it looked fantastic. And I only got to play it a couple times on the PS2 before the disc that I had just stopped working for playing the import games, and then of course they don't work now on the PS3 and all that kind of stuff. So I may end up having to buy one of those slimline PS2s and doing the thing where you take the cover off and you put the little switch thing in so you can start the disc and then swap it out. But I really wish that the games like that would get, kind of like a region-free release, so you wouldn't have to mess with that stuff. Yeah, like
if they were to take it on the network and actually translate and open region it.
I wouldn't even want it translated necessarily. Like I would play it with just the original Japanese.
Well, I want at least menu screen translation so I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, well, you can kind of figure it out, by playing it once or twice. But I mean, it just makes me sad that they don't even, like I said, I'd be willing to play the Japanese version. Just make it available. Like I'll pay the extra money to import it from Japan. Just make it so I can play it. Like the these region lockouts just get so heinous after a while, where it's just like the game is never going to be released in the U.S. So why wouldn't you make it so it's available to play in any region? You know, like I understand certain staggered releases, and you've got certain places that have.
I think it is completely ridiculous that we have region codes to begin with. For what reason possible could they have that? I only want you guys to play this game and no one else, and you guys can play this game and no one else. It seems ridiculous. It seems like there would be a lot of money in the open region in the games. Unless, I understand that they release a title, they want to sell it in the U.S., and they want to focus all their efforts on selling it in a certain region, and they don't want the people from Region 2 buying it from Region 1 and getting it early. But, come on, really?
Well, I think part of the reason behind it is just the idea that certain publishers can only publish in certain regions, and then they license it to different companies and different publishers in other regions. So what reason would there be for someone in Europe to pay for the license to bring over the Japanese game, to their region to resell it if everyone is just going to buy the Japanese one? You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason for them to pay for the development to bring it over and localize it for whatever region they're going to be in. But on certain games that's never going to happen. No one's going to pay thousands of dollars to get some of these obscure games for their rights to bring them over to have them sell 2,000 copies. You know what I mean? So on some of those smaller games, I guess if everything was just region free, and the company, you just had the ability for a company in Japan to just sell it to everybody in the United States, then fine, get rid of the regions. No problem. But I understand why those things exist in certain cases.
Well, now with the release of digital format games, maybe that'll just be a thing that'll happen.
Yeah, when you can just download, I don't see why you couldn't. I found the game that I'm thinking of. It's called Kinnikuman Muscle Grand Prix Max, and they did a Grand Prix Max 2,
which you have not played.
So Grand Prix Max 2, I would love to play, but it just looks like. Well, Grand Prix Max is the one I got imported from Japan. Grand Prix Max 2, never been able to find, and I can't play on anything. There's no way to get it working in the United States that I know of. So if you know a way to make it run on the PS3 or something, let me know. But
is it a PS3 game?
No, I don't know. I don't know what system, if it ever got released on anything.
We got Magic Swaps. Yeah.
So anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this week on the Video Game Losers.
Region code's bad.
Hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget, you can go to VGLosers.com. Check out more video game news and content, including other shows like Operation Retro Shock from those British, Scottish, Irish dudes, whoever they are, and all of their funky stuff. And you can check out other shows like From Pixels to Plastic, from Pixel Dan, and some of that other neat video game related stuff. You can also go to VideoGameLosers.com. Check out more of this show, because we're awesome, and you want to see more of the great stuff that we do. And also, don't forget, if you come to PopCultureNetwork.com, join the forums. You can go to the Fan Corner thread. You can ask us questions. We can answer them here on the show. If you want to leave us voicemail questions or comments, you can do so by calling area code 217-953-4025. And if you want to send us emails, you can send it to killen@PopCultureNetwork.com or dirt@PopCultureNetwork.com.
Dirt or dirt.
And there's my spiel. That made all my money for the week by going through all that stuff. Anything else you want to add?
Buy gold. Gold line.
Buy gold from ShopPCN.com. Now we've got bullion and rare gold coins. We can even store it for you if you'd like.
Yay. Sure, why
buy
not?
Gold on paper. No, don't buy paper gold. You want real gold.
No, just buy it and we'll hold it for you.
We'll hold it. Keep it safe for you.
Yeah.
Of course, the day you want it, just turns out the post office lost it.
And we're not responsible for loss.
Not responsible for lost, stolen, or misdirected mail. Even if that means we stole it ourselves. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.